My husband's poker nights always ended with him coming home at 3 a.m. Suspicious, I dressed up, went to the casino, and looked for him. Instead, I found him in a private suite, with 3 women. He froze mid-kiss and stammered, "Babe, it's not what it looks like." I laughed and said, "Oh, I know. That's why I brought security." What happened next got him banned, from the casino and from my life. So, I, 34 female, was married to Mike, 37 male. We'd been together for almost 9 years, married for 6. He was always the charming, funny guy. The kind who could make friends with a brick wall. At first, I thought I hit the jackpot. He had a decent job in finance, wasn't bad with money, and treated me well, or so I thought. Around a year ago, Mike started doing these poker nights with his guy friends every Friday. It didn't seem like a big deal at first. He said they needed a way to unwind, and honestly, I believed him. The first few months, he'd come home smelling like cigars and whiskey, a little buzzed but in a good mood. I didn't question it. But over time, things started to shift. He started coming home later and later. At first, it was midnight. Then it was 1 a.m. Then suddenly, 3 a.m. became the usual. When I asked him why it kept getting later, he shrugged and said the games just ran long. His answers started to feel rehearsed. He stopped looking me in the eye. Then, I noticed the smell. He didn't smell like cigars anymore. It was perfume. Expensive perfume. It clung to his clothes, and his shirt sometimes had glitter or smudged makeup on it. I brought it up once. He laughed it off and said one of the guys brought their girlfriend and she liked to hug everyone. That's when the red flags started piling up. Still, I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to be the cool wife who trusted her man. I didn't want to be paranoid. But something in my gut wouldn't shut up. You know that feeling when everything seems fine on the surface but deep down something is screaming at you that it's not? So one Friday night, I decided I was done wondering. I told Mike I was going out with a couple girlfriends from work. He nodded, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Have fun." He had no clue I was lying. I didn't have any plans. What I did have was a plan of my own. I waited until 8:30 p.m., put on a black dress I hadn't worn in over a year, did my makeup, and drove to the Grand Royale Casino downtown. That place is huge. Flashy lights, high ceilings, polished marble floors, the kind of place where secrets are easy to hide. If he was really playing poker every Friday, I figured this was where it would be happening. I walked around the poker tables for nearly half an hour. Looked at every man at every table. No Mike. I even asked a couple of dealers if they'd seen a tall guy in a blue polo and a backwards cap who played regularly. One of them said, "I've seen someone like that, but he doesn't play here. He hangs out in the private suites upstairs." My stomach dropped. I thanked the dealer and made my way upstairs. The private suites were at the far end of the building, guarded by a hallway with a velvet rope. I acted like I belonged and slipped past when a group walked through. I didn't care if I got kicked out. I needed to know. I stood outside Suite 3B and I could hear music and laughter. Not poker chips clinking. Not serious game talk. Just music, high-pitched giggles, and the unmistakable sound of women flirting. I didn't knock. I just opened the door. And there he was. Mike. My husband. Sitting on a red velvet couch, a drink in his hand, surrounded by 3 women. One of them was kissing his neck. Another had her hand on his thigh. The third was whispering in his ear. They were all dressed like they were headed to a nightclub. He didn't even notice me at first. Then one of the women saw me and said, "Someone's here." Mike turned his head and saw me. His face went pale. He stood up so fast his drink spilled. Sarah? Babe, it's not what it looks like." I just looked at him. I couldn't even speak for a second. I was shaking. But not from sadness, from rage. I took a deep breath. Then I smiled. Oh, I know what it is. That's why I brought security. As they escorted him out, he turned back and looked at me like I had stabbed him in the back. I didn't care. I walked out slowly, heels clicking on the marble floor. I didn't cry. Not then. I felt strangely calm. When I got home, I packed his things into black trash bags and left them by the door. I texted him a simple message: "Your things are at the house. I'll be talking to a lawyer next week. Do not come back inside." I locked the door and sat in the silence. I haven't told my parents yet. Or many of my friends. A few of my close coworkers know something happened, but not the whole thing. I'm not sure why I'm telling Reddit first. Maybe because strangers are easier to talk to. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Part of me wants to scream. Part of me wants to curl up in bed and not move. But the strongest part of me is just tired. Tired of feeling stupid. Tired of wondering what else he lied about. Tired of wasting my love on someone who thought he could keep me in the dark forever. Anyway, that's where I'm at now. There's more to this story. What happened after this night just made things worse in ways I didn't expect. But I'll share that in another post. For now, I just needed to get this out. Thanks for listening. I wish I could say that after that night everything got easier. That mic disappeared and I moved on. But no. Life doesn't clean itself up that fast. The morning after the casino incident, my phone blew up. Missed calls. Voicemails. Texts from unknown numbers. Mike must have handed out my number like candy to anyone who would listen. At first, I ignored them. I didn't want to hear it. But curiosity got the better of me. I listened to one voicemail. It was his mother. "Sarah. I don't know what's going on between you and Mike, but please call me. This isn't the way to handle things. He's devastated." Devastated? He was kissing a woman's neck while another sat on his lap. But I'm the one handling it wrong? Then came the texts. "You're blowing this out of proportion. They were just friends, nothing happened. Let's just talk. Don't ruin our lives over one mistake. You're acting crazy. You didn't have to embarrass me like that." Fine. You want to ruin everything? Go ahead. I'll tell everyone you've been unstable for months. That last one hit me like a slap. I'd trusted Mike. He knew about my past struggles with anxiety. He was the one who held me during panic attacks, told me I wasn't broken. Now he was trying to twist that into a weapon against me? It was like I was seeing a stranger wearing his face. But here's where it got worse. Remember how I said I hadn't told my parents yet? Yeah. I should have. Because somehow, he got to them first. My mom called me in the middle of work. Her voice was sharp. "Sarah, why is Mike saying you kicked him out without warning? That you're accusing him of cheating but there's no proof?" I nearly dropped my phone. He said what? Turns out, he spun the whole story. Told them we'd been fighting for months, that I'd been off, and that he'd been trying to save our marriage. That I showed up at a casino and freaked out for no reason. That I had a meltdown. And Mike knew it. He started posting vague things on Facebook. Things like, "It's hard when the person you love believes lies over you. Sometimes people change, and it's not your fault." And the comments started pouring in. Friends from our social circle saying things like, "We love you, Mike. Hang in there. You deserve happiness. Don't let toxic people bring you down." I wanted to scream. He was painting himself as the victim. The loyal husband who was betrayed. And I was the unstable wife who imagined things and destroyed a marriage. Then, the twist I really didn't see coming. One of the women from the suite messaged me on Instagram. Her name was Tanya. Profile full of travel pics, selfies, and wine glasses. She wrote, "Hey. I didn't know he was married. I feel sick. He told us he was single and just got out of a long relationship. Said he needed to feel alive again. I had no idea. I'm sorry. My hands were shaking. I messaged her back. We talked for over an hour. She said Mike had been going to the casino regularly for months. Said she'd met him there 6 weeks ago. That he flirted with everyone. That he liked to play the room and buy drinks for any woman who smiled at him. And then she said this, I think he's been seeing one of the dealers too. A girl named Jess. He told her he was getting divorced. I just stared at the screen. He'd already started replacing me before I even found out. Already telling people we were done. Lying like it came easy to him. And the part that really hurt? I believed him when he said he loved me. I believed him. That night, I opened the old photo album we kept under the coffee table. Our wedding. Our trips. Birthdays. The little scrapbook I made for our 5-year anniversary. I stared at a picture of us in Santorini, his arms around me, both of us smiling like we had everything. And I thought, what part of this was real? I didn't sleep. I stayed up, reading every message he sent me, every post he made, looking for answers I'd never get. But the next day, I got something else. A letter. Handwritten. On yellow legal pad paper. Slipped into my mailbox. It read, Sarah, I'm sorry you saw what you saw. I didn't want it to happen like that. I was trying to figure things out. I never meant to hurt you. Please don't destroy everything we built over a mistake. I still love you. You'll always be my best friend. Let's talk. Please. It wasn't signed love, Mike. Just Mike. Like we were coworkers. Or distant friends. I didn't cry. Not then. But something in me snapped. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He was sorry for being caught. And somehow, he thought we could just talk it out. After everything? There's more to tell. A lot more. Like how his lies kept unraveling. Like how someone else came forward. Like how I learned just how far he'd go to protect his image, even if it meant dragging mine through the mud. But I'll save that for the next part. This story isn't over yet. So after the letter showed up in my mailbox, I didn't respond. I didn't rip it up either. I just stared at it. Read it a few times. Left it on the kitchen counter like it was some cursed object I didn't know what to do with. I wanted to ignore him. I wanted to just go full no contact, like every advice column tells you to. But I also wanted answers. Real ones. Not that it's not what it looks like nonsense. So I made a mistake. I replied. I sent him one message. Short. Cold. Meet me at the park. Noon. You get 15 minutes. That's it. He replied right away. Thank you. 2 words. Like I was doing him a favor. We met at Roosevelt Park, the one near the lake. It was cold that day. Gray skies. The kind of weather where everything feels heavier. He showed up in jeans and that same stupid blue jacket he always wore. Looked like he hadn't shaved in a few days, but not in a sad way, more like he was trying to look wounded on purpose. He sat down next to me on the bench and said nothing for a minute. Just stared at the water. Then he started talking. I messed up, he said. I didn't plan to. It just happened. I felt like something was missing and I didn't know how to tell you. I laughed. I actually laughed. Out loud. Something was missing, so you went and filled it with 3 women? Was it a group deal? He looked down. It wasn't always like that. At first, it was just drinks. Just talking. I didn't mean for it to become more. I didn't respond. I was just watching his face. How carefully he picked every word. How he tried to cry without tears. Then he said it. There's something else I have to tell you. Oh no. I felt my stomach drop. What? I said. Another woman? No. Well. Sort of. He ran a hand through his hair. She's pregnant. I didn't breathe. I didn't know until last week. It's not one of the girls from the suite. It's someone else. Her name's Jess. She works at the casino. We've been seeing each other for a while. She didn't know I was married until recently either. That's when I remembered what Tanya told me. Jess. The dealer. My chest felt tight, like I'd swallowed a brick. She's keeping it? I asked. He nodded. Yeah. She said she doesn't expect anything from me. But I want to be there. I have to be there. I just stared at him. You want a medal? I asked. You lie to your wife, sleep around, knock someone up, and now you think you're a hero for being there? I'm not trying to be a hero, he said quietly. I just want to make things right. You want to make things right? I stood up. Then stop talking to my parents. Stop telling people I'm crazy. Stop trying to save face when you've already ruined everything. His eyes widened. I didn't. When I sat down in the office, my manager and someone from corporate were there. They looked serious. Nervous. One of them said, "We received an anonymous tip about potential misconduct involving your behavior." What kind of misconduct? I asked. They exchanged a glance. Then my manager said, there were claims that you'd been unstable at work. Erratic. That you've been taking confidential files home. I was stunned. I hadn't taken anything. I hadn't even taken a sick day. I just sat at my desk, did my work, and cried silently in the bathroom on my lunch breaks like any normal heartbroken person. But it hit me. Mike. He was trying to ruin my reputation, at my job now. Probably figured if he couldn't get me to come back, he'd make sure I went down with him. I told HR everything. Laid it all out. They listened. They said they had to investigate, but they didn't seem convinced by the anonymous tip. Still, it shook me. He wasn't done. And then came the final straw. Tanya messaged me again. This time, she said something that made my skin crawl. I think you need to know, Mike's been saying weird stuff about you. That you might hurt him. That you've made threats. What kind of threats? I typed back. Like, violent. He told Jess you've got a temper. That you've broken things before. That he's scared of you. I was speechless. Not only was he trying to wreck my image, he was now painting me as dangerous? This man, who sat in a suite with women on his lap, who got someone else pregnant, who lied to everyone, was now playing the victim so hard he was preparing a defense in case I fought back. That's when I knew I needed more than distance. I needed evidence. And I needed to protect myself. This wasn't just a divorce anymore. This was war. It all came to a head 2 weeks after the park meeting. I was emotionally wrecked, barely sleeping, barely eating, just trying to function like a normal person while my life crumbled beneath me. My manager at work pulled me aside and quietly told me the HR investigation cleared me. That anonymous tip had no evidence, no merit. But the damage was done. I knew who was behind it. And I knew it wasn't over. Then Tanya messaged me again. There's going to be a party at the casino. VIP event. Jess will be there. Mike probably will too. Just thought you'd want to know. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe I wanted revenge. Maybe I just wanted him to say it, out loud, in front of people. But I made a decision. I put on the same black dress I wore the night everything broke. Painted my face like armor. Called the same security manager I'd spoken to weeks earlier. Told him I had reason to believe Mike might cause a scene at the event, he remembered the name. Said if I needed anything, just wave. Then I walked into that casino like a storm. The event was upstairs, private lounge again. Loud music, flashing lights, fake smiles everywhere. I scanned the room and found him in under 2 minutes. Mike started sputtering. "Sarah, don't do this here. Let's talk outside." "No," I said, louder now. "You don't get to hide anymore." People started turning around. The noise dimmed. "Tell her," I said. "Tell her how long we were married. Tell her when you started sleeping with her. Tell her about the lies, the letter you left in my mailbox begging for forgiveness while telling the world I was unstable." Jess stepped back. "You said you were divorced." "I said we were getting divorced," Mike snapped, looking at her. "It's complicated, Jess." "Oh my God," she whispered. "You lied to me too." "You said she hit you," Jess said, pointing at me. "You said you were scared of her." My jaw dropped. I've never laid a finger on him. More eyes turned. The tension crackled in the air like static. "Mike," I said, "you've burned every bridge. Lied to everyone. Threw me under the bus just to keep your story straight. And now you want to stand here and play the victim?" "Sarah," he said, voice rising, "you were cold. You were distant. You shut me out for years." "Oh, I'm sorry," I snapped. "Was I supposed to throw on lingerie while you were screwing around and gaslighting me? Don't act like you were perfect." "I never lied to you," I said, voice breaking. "Not once." And that's when Jess slapped him. Right there, in front of everyone. "You told me you loved me," she hissed. "You said we were going to raise this baby together. I let you into my life, Mike." He looked completely stunned. One hand on his cheek, like he couldn't believe this was happening. "You don't love anyone but yourself," I said. "You used me. You used her. You tried to ruin my job, my family, my reputation." He stepped toward me like he might beg. I was scared. I didn't know how to fix it. "Then you shouldn't have broken it," I said. Security moved in. One of the guards gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave." Again. Mike looked around like he was finally realizing the room had turned. No one stepped in for him. Not a friend. Not even the guy in the blazer. He walked out alone, head down, surrounded by silence. Jess looked at me. Her eyes full of betrayal, pain, fear. "I didn't know," she said quietly. "I'm sorry." I nodded. I wasn't mad at her anymore. She was just another one of his lies. Then I left too. Walked down those stairs like I was shedding skin. The days after that night were heavy. Mike tried again. Texted, called, emailed. "I messed up. You're the only one who ever loved me. Please talk to me." I blocked him. Everywhere. My parents apologized. My mom cried. She said she should have believed me from the beginning. Friends I hadn't heard from in months reached out. Said they were sorry for ever doubting me. Work slowly got better. I got invited to lunch again. Someone even left a sticky note on my computer that said, "You're stronger than most." Jess moved out of state. I heard from Tanya once, she said Jess was focusing on the baby. Not seeing anyone. Just trying to heal. As for Mike, last I heard, he tried getting back into the casino. They banned him for life. Word got around about his behavior. Whatever image he'd built, it cracked wide open. I lost a lot. Trust. Time. A version of my future I thought was real. But I gained something too. Clarity. You think betrayal will break you. And it does. But not forever. Not completely. Now I know what real love doesn't look like. It doesn't lie. It doesn't cheat. It doesn't hide in dark rooms with strangers and excuses. I'm still healing. Still figuring out what's next. Some days are quiet. Some days I cry over nothing. Some nights I can't fall asleep without double-checking the locks. But I'm not angry anymore. I'm free. And for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough.